like on your side did it. So you won't want to hang out.
Hey everybody, welcome to another live streaming Healthy Minds meditation. 10 seconds ago, I just asked my wife to give the cat treats in the other room. So she wouldn't come interrupt our session, but she might show up anyway. Really lovely to have you here. As you probably know by now, but if it's your first time, Healthy Minds Innovations is a nonprofit that translates scientific tools for scientific insights about well-being and emotion and mindfulness and compassion into tools for well-being, like the Healthy Minds Program app, like live streaming meditations like this, as well as the Healthy Minds Masterclass, which is an 8-week intensive. We actually have, myself and the lovely Stephanie Wagner are teaching a masterclass starting 2 weeks from now. So some exciting stuff coming up. Today's theme, actually this month's theme, is a vacation for the mind. And as I mentioned last time, we have to be very careful about how we interpret the word vacation. But today what I wanted to do is actually guide us in a kind of like reflection that sometimes helps me see the big picture when things get busy. And I'm doing this for two reasons. I'm doing this, number one, because of this theme, and I think it connects this idea of reflecting on the big picture, sort of taking a vacation from the everyday. And I'm also doing this because I personally am suffering from a little bit of burnout right now. I have next week off, and I haven't in a while, and I've been working, and this week I am just feeling it. And it's one of those things where I'm really thankful to have this practice because it helps me manage and acknowledge that and treat myself carefully and gently and kindly. And so there's a little bit of a selfish motivation. This is the practice that I want to do today. And I feel like it'll be nice and authentic for me to share it with all of you. Before we get started, please share in the chat. If you're here, it's always nice to see your name and your messages. Reminds me that we're here together. And that really helps me get inspired and motivated to guide us together. And one more thing before we get started. When you're doing these practices, frankly, when you're doing any guided practice, it's important to remember that this is your practice, right? Someone like me is here to offer you a little bit of guidance, a little bit of suggestion, but ultimately it's your practice. So you take care of yourself. For example, if the practice feels like it's going on too long, it's up to you. If you want to take a break, you want to take a sip of water, you don't have to feel guilty about that. Or if you've already got momentum with some other practice technique, you can just go ahead and enjoy the space of community while you practice that technique. Or if this is your first time doing anything like this, you don't have to follow the guidance. You can just listen in and listen to what this Jay guy is talking about and get a sense of what this is all about, just as a kind of dipping your toes in the water. So it really is your practice. Please treat yourself kindly. And that's especially real for me right now. We've got Lola in Denmark. We've got Christine from Wisconsin during a thunderstorm. Wonderful. And we've got R. LaRue from Cincinnati. I think that was Robert from last time. Maybe my memory's wrong. Anyway, welcome everyone. Let's assume our position. So if you've done this before, you probably know exactly what position you want to go into. If not, I recommend you find something upright yet relaxed. So I like to kind of first find a stable grounding. You want your knees a little bit below your hips, if possible. You can sit on a chair or a cushion. If your body needs you to lie down, you're more than welcome to do that. Try to find a position where you won't likely fall asleep. Don't get too comfortable. And then stretch that spine up, maybe tilt the head down a little bit so you really kind of reach the top of the head up to the sky. And let that kind of draw your spine out, expand your spine so that you're really up and straight. And then hold that uprightness as you let go of tension, let go of the muscles around the eyes. You can close your eyes if you'd prefer. Let go of your jaw. Release any tension you might notice in your shoulders. Let your hands and arms rest gently in your lap. Settle in to your stable base. Let gravity hold you in a rooted way and just maintain that upright spine. Take a moment to notice the posture. Notice how This body position subtly influences your quality of mind. That's why posture is so important. If it helps for you to take a deep breath, by all means, please do so. And if you do so on the exhale, it's a great opportunity to release a little bit more. Whenever you're ready, gently place your attention on the sensations of breathing, wherever you might notice them most clearly. You might notice the expansion and contraction of your abdomen or your chest. You might notice air flowing through your nose. There's no right answer here. Wherever you notice most clearly that subtle sensation of breathing in, pause, breathing out, pause, breathing in, etc. There's no need to try to control your breathing in any way. Just let it flow naturally. And just notice what it feels like. This process of breathing. However many 6 billion molecules of air flowing in and out of your body. From your perspective, it all amounts to this subtle sensation that we so often just ignore, but actually connects us to the essence that has kept us alive since we were born. It's rhythmic in and out, like a bellows or a rocking boat. Just letting it happen. See if you can find that sweet spot of effort here. You don't want to be so tense and focused and harshly criticizing yourself when you even slightly fall off the breath. But you also don't want to be super lax where you are completely defocused and hazy and foggy. And that sweet spot might be different for every person. It might be different in every moment. So try to kind of surf that knife's edge of the perfect amount of effort. Maybe you need to let go a little bit of the effort that you're putting in, or maybe you need to titrate in a little bit more effort. See if you can feel that out. Find just the right amount of effort as you stay with each breath, as you stay with this breath. And this breath too. Letting the air flow in and out, as it always does. If at any point you feel and notice that you've lost track of the breath, maybe some thoughts have come along and taken you away, or maybe you've gotten focused on some discomfort in your body, or there's some sound that's happening. It's distracting you. That's perfectly okay. Just notice that that happened. That's what we're doing here. We're noticing. So notice that that's happened. No need to criticize yourself or judge yourself. It's all part of the process. You might want to take the opportunity to refresh your posture, recommit to the practice, and then whenever you're ready, coming back to that inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Now, whenever you're ready, if your eyes are open, I might recommend you close them for this next part. I want you to imagine in your mind's eye, visualize the view from where you are directly above you. So if you're in a building, you might see the roof of that building and maybe some of the streets, the way you might see from a plane or from Google Maps satellite view, and see if with each breath, as you exhale, you're zooming out a little more on that picture. So first you might see the building you're in. Then you might take a breath, and then you see the street, maybe the nearby park, some other buildings nearby. On your next breath, you see maybe the neighborhood. It's okay. Obviously, you don't have a perfect map of all this in your mind unless you have a photographic memory and you've already looked this up. But this is kind of playful and a fun experiment. Just kind of creatively explore with your mind's eye, with your imagination, what the neighborhood looks like from above. You might notice various mental images showing up, and that's all good. Just let it happen. On each breath, keep zooming out. So maybe you see some of the nearby neighborhoods. And maybe you see the whole town, the whole region, the whole city. Again, trying to maintain a kind of vivid clarity here. And also a sense of creative authorship. This is your practice, so feel free to tweak if there's another way that it works for you. If you're a very verbal person, you might even just think of the names of these places if the visualization is not working for you. So for example, right now I'm visualizing a kind of creative interpretation of what Toronto looks like from above. That's where I am. I'm in Toronto, Canada. But if you're more of a verbal person, you might just sort of say Toronto and imagine all the people, whatever works for you. And each breath continuing to zoom out. Maybe you see the state or province that you live in. Each breath getting a wider view. Maybe from this angle, you're starting to see the curvature of the earth. It doesn't just look flat anymore. You're far enough away that you can see that in fact we are on this sphere. Keep zooming out. Maybe you see your whole country. Maybe the whole continent. Keep breathing, floating away, this vacation while also staying perfectly grounded in the sensations of breathing in this moment until you're looking at the earth from space, the so-called planet of the apes. And notice now, from this view, a kind of photographic image of the earth. So not a map, but a photographic image of the earth. Doesn't really have any borders. Sort of just land and water that are the home of almost 8 billion of these apes we call human beings, as well as countless plants and animals and other living beings. And notice that big picture. Notice what comes up for you, what feelings come up for you, what thoughts come up for you. Maybe you're thinking, this is awkward. What is Jay leading us through? But maybe some other thoughts are coming up too. It's all good. We're just experimenting here, getting a little playful. And in that melange, if you notice a feeling or a thought of some kind of kinship, some kind of shared humanity or shared life essence, some sense that we're all breathing, even cells, single celled organisms are kind of engaging in a cellular respiration. Plants are engaging in photosynthesis, and of course, all the animals breathing air, just like you and me, just like everyone on this call. For these last few moments, see if you can breathe together with me, with everyone on this call, everyone in your part of the world, everyone on Earth with all the plants and the animals and even those single-celled organisms. Just take a moment to breathe together and notice what it feels like to breathe in this way. You might have mental images coming up, that's fine. You might want to say a phrase, something like, may all beings be happy. Or if that's too stodgy for you, you might just want to say peace or happy or whatever word feels right to you. Staying with that breath, staying with that sentiment of kinship, global kinship, breathing together. Whenever you're ready, you can let go of that practice completely. Feel free to continue on for these last few minutes. If you're ready to let go, just drop all the effort completely. And just be as you are. Don't need to rush on to the next thing. Letting all of that settle. Nothing to do here. No need to pay attention in any specific way. Just accepting whatever's here this last minute. Okay. Nice work, everybody. Whenever you're ready, slowly transitioning out of the practice. No rush whatsoever. Coming back down to earth, as we say. Give yourself a sip of water or a stretch or whatever your body's asking for. Whenever you're ready, I'll draw your attention to the chat. I'd love to hear, this is a bit of a personal practice for me. It's something I really love to do when I get burnt out and stressed. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about that practice, what your experience was like, how you feel now, anything you're willing to share. That would be very generous. And I know there's a bit of delay, so while I wait for your messages to come in, just a note about visualization exercises. There's something that when I started in this practice that didn't feel right to me about visualization. I was like, what are we doing? I can't really put it another way than just like that tone of voice. Like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And I've come to realize that, in fact, our minds are incredibly powerful tools to shape our experience in the moment. And I've sort of had experiences where I do a visualization like that, and I realize, and I can feel it even right now, having done it with all of you, I feel different after. I feel different in my body. I feel a different level of stress. I feel a different sense of purpose. I have maybe some insight about where I fit in the world. And that's the part that I think I didn't get when I started. I was like focused on the activity itself, like, why do this? And I was also skeptical, like, is this person who's guiding me trying to somehow like make me convinced that I can actually send energy to all the beings in the world? And I've come to realize that maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It kind of like at the sort of most practical level, we can at least agree how our bodies feel right now, how our minds feel right now, and everything else is just kind of bonus. And that was a great access point for me to start my journey into visualization practices. And there's a lot of different ancestral traditions from all corners of the world and all human cultures, from Gnostic, Benedictine, Christian monks visualizing flames to Tibetan Buddhists picturing energy, to Hindus imagining their deities. And science is now starting to explore some of these questions too. So it's really a really fascinating practice. Hi, Gavin. Hello, everyone from San Diego. Awesome. May we all find joy on this beautiful day. Very rejuvenating practice. Thank you. Thank you, Gavin. Really glad to have you here. Christine, we were all part of a symphony of gentle waves in the ocean. Oh, indeed we are, Christine. Indeed we are. And our LaRue, that practice reminded me a little bit about a remote viewing session is like. Very relaxing. I haven't done a lot of practice like that. That's very curious. Maybe it's something I should try if I like this practice so much. Lola, I loved it. I'm so grateful to live on this planet, and we all are here together. I can't think of a better note to end on. Thank you for sharing that, Lola. Hope you're all doing well. And if you're not doing well, I hope you're finding balance anyway. That's all we can really hope for sometimes. Just a note, there will be no practice next week, and we're switching to a bi-weekly schedule. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. And again, the intensive masterclass with myself and Stephanie Wagner is starting in 2 weeks on July 6th. So I think we're sharing the link in the chat already, and you can also Google it, the Healthy Minds Masterclass. Hope to see some of you there, meet you in person. Take care. Be well.